From the Patriots, who have been a perennial contender over the past 20 years, with the exception of 2020, to the Giants, who have been unable to get out of their own way since beating the Patriots 10 years ago.
Shut your mouth, Florio.
Super Bowl 46. One playoff appearance in 10 years. John Mara, co-owner of the team, and basically guy who runs the team, and in the opinion of some, guy who runs the league, recently met with reporters. He was asked what it would mean for the Giants to do what they haven't done since 2011 and get back to the Super Bowl. Here he is.
Obviously, it would mean the world to me. It's been a very difficult 4 or 5 year period for us, and I'm tired of the losing and of having the postseason press conference trying to explain what went wrong and why I think we're making progress. It's time for us to start winning some more, and that's one of the reasons we spent the money that we did.
You talked about wanting to win and you're expecting to win more. If this team does not produce more in 2021, will Dave Gettleman be your GM in 2022?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on that right now. Let's just see how the season plays out. I have more confidence going into this season than I've had in previous years. So hopefully, given the money that we spent, given the draft that we expect to have, we'll have a better team on the field this year.
In other words, Gettleman's in trouble if they have another season like the seasons they've had in recent years. I don't know that I agree with that, because then you get a new GM. The new GM is going to want a different coach, and you continue to have this out-of-sync front office and coaching staff. You got to get rid of everybody or get rid of nobody and continue to play it out. But a lot of it depends upon what they do this year, Chris. And I said this earlier in the week. Anytime that the GM in New York is feeling the heat, that's when we see the cash fly. We saw it with Jerry Reese the year that it felt like he was on the hot seat, and they went out and signed guys like Janoris Jenkins and Snacks Harrison and Olivier Vernon, threw a ton of money on that defense. Now this year, some heat ratcheting up, and they go out and they spend a bunch of money, and we'll see if spending a bunch of money on, as I've said, over $100 million in contract value on guys who played a combined 8 games last year in Kenny Golladay and Adoree Jackson. We'll see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, a little like, New England and the fact that they had guys that they looked at that they felt like they could change their team. They had some extra money, and they just said, okay, we're not going to mess around. And it does seem like they overpaid. Like you said, you've heard it's, more than $3 million at least for Kenny Golladay. Okay, that stinks. That's troubling. But when you feel like he can maybe make the difference in your football team, make your quarterback better, get you over the hump, I think that's something that they probably could come to terms with there. They're close. It's the first year in a while where I feel like I like the direction of the football team. First of all, it's because of Joe Judge and the coaching staff. I mean, I do have confidence in them. We talked about this earlier this week or late last week, whatever it was. One, he's a real football guy. The way they play, everything like that, the approach to each game, I thought was very impressive. And Gettleman, even though he's not a New England guy, he's an old school Giants guy. The Giants and Patriots have a lot of the same philosophies as far as building their football team and what they look at. There's a lot of similarities there. There's been a lot of crossover in between those two organizations over the year. So Gettleman's, vision of a football team, I do think fits what Joe Judge is trying to build with the New York Giants. It's along a Nick Saban's, Bill Belichick thought and frame of mind as far as what he likes at linebacker and defensive end and what fits Patrick Graham's defense as a defensive coordinator, all of those things. So that's where I'm excited. I really am. And I think there's a legit chance that they can win the NFC East this year. I mean, when you look at their roster through and through, it's better than the Cowboys through and through. It's better than the Eagles through and through. And then it's Washington. But we have an unproven quarterback and an unproven head coach, and we kind of got to see it first.
But winning the division,
the
worst division in football, is one thing. Getting back to the Super Bowl is another.
Right.
I think no matter what the Giants do, and now, look, the reality is by the time we get to January, teams will be far different than they are in September. Some will be better, some will be worse. Very few are exactly the same. By the time we get to January, though, when you consider Packers, Buccaneers,
that's right,
whoever emerges
ready
from
for
the
that.
NFC West, going on the road and having to beat those teams. Now, they did it in 2007. They did it in 2011. That was part of the fuel that carried them to upsets over the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But that's a tough hand to draw, but that's where they are. If they get back to the Super Bowl, it's not going to be because they're the Phil Simms Giants of 86 or 90 when they're wire-to-wire great and the road to the Super Bowl is going through their stadium. It's going to be, let's hope we win the division, let's win at home in the wild card round, and let's hope like hell we can go on the road and win the games that we're not supposed to win.
I mean, you're right. Realistically, as a Giants fan, I'm not. I mean, and Pete Demolitis, he's a Giants fan. He's listening here. I'm not expecting Super Bowl. I just want, a glimmer, a gleam. What is that, the old Marty Schottenheimer thing? And there's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. It's the weirdest pregame speech or postgame going into overtime saying ever. But that's all I want as a fan of the Giants. Just give me some hope. Let me see, oh, wow, okay, we got into the playoffs. All right, next year's our year. I mean, that's where I just think as a Giants fan, we just wanted to see the team going in the right direction, so we got hope for maybe 2022 we can make a legit Super Bowl run. This year, I'd just be happy with playoffs, like you said, winning the NFC East, and if we win one playoff game, I go, that's a good year for the Giants. The G-Men.
I think we've exhausted all reasonable things we can say about the Giants.
Yeah.
Once they start winning games, then they get
Don't be a hater,
time
Florio.
allotted to them. I'm just saying, once they start winning games, if you're right, if they're a contender in the NFC East, we'll be talking plenty about the New York Jets or Giants and Jets. Both teams have a lot to prove to land on our radar screen and consume time in the program.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.